At Delaware Orthopedic Specialists, you're never left in the dark. Not only are they the only fellowship-trained surgery center here in the state of Delaware, all of their providers are also specialists, which means that they're focusing on each and every part of the body specifically, so that when you come in with knee pain, you're getting a doctor specifically devoted to that. Wrist pain, wrist doctor, foot pain, foot doctor, so on and so forth. Why would you go anywhere where you're just going to get a general doctor that knows overall body when you can get somebody that knows the ins and outs of your exact injury? They're going to hold your hand and walk you through each and every step of the process so that you won't have any questions and you'll know exactly what you should be expecting. My family and friends trust DOS, and you should too. Give them a call at 302-655-9494 or head on over to delortho.com. Let them know that Talkin 215 sent you. And after they give you phenomenal care, head on over to Google, give them a great review.
Welcome to Talkin 215, your go-to podcast for everything you need to know about Philly sports. Whether you bleed green, trust the process, fly with the Flyers, or fight with the Fightins, this is the place where we break down Broad Street. Jake, Sean, and Joey deep dive into the heart of Philly sports culture, breaking down games, roster moves, and sharing the stories that make the 215 truly legendary. So grab a cheesesteak, settle in, and let's get to Talkin 215. Now here's your host, Jake Biasado.
It has been a long time coming, gentlemen, but we are 3 days from NFL football, 4 days from the Birds. We got Coach, we got Sean down in the bunker. How we doing, gentlemen?
Pump, man. It's game week. I mean, how long have we been waiting to say that? It's game week. Let's go.
No, seriously.
Yeah. Listen, put away all the other stressors in life, right? Whether it be the work, the home, the internet connection, connecting to your podcast. Dude, we got football, baby. That's all that matters.
No, seriously. And it's funny you're saying put all the stress away. This whole stinking Brave series, we talked about it, like nothing more stressful than a postseason playoff matchup. This 4-game series against the Braves was freaking brutal. The anxiety was awful. We're going to get into that here in a little bit and all, but we're talking Birds week 1 matchup. Boys, it's about time. It's about time to head down south to booty shaking Brazil, where they are going to be taking the Brinks truck, whatever truck they use to pay Jalen, AJ, Devontae, Landon, Mylott, everything. They've rented all of those to actually transport the players from the hotel to the field because of how much of a shithole Brazil has turned into to play these games. You see Darius Slay talking about today. He's like, yeah, my family, I told him none of them can come. It sounds like we're not going to have any fun. We're told we can just go from the hotel to the game, back to the airport. This is stupid. Why would the NFL go somewhere where the crime rate's so terrible? Like, I'm hoping that these players speaking out will kind of be an eye-opening thing for the NFL. But at the end of the day, they're just going to go wherever the hell the money is.
Yeah. How is the money like that good for the NFL, though? I feel like this is kind of like an investment more than like now money, right? Like, because Brazil, we know it's soccer or, football over there, but soccer is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, right? It's not even close.
Yeah.
How obsessed they are with it over there. I don't know who was in charge of like scouting like different spots. Like when you scout like a host city for the Olympics, or you scout like a city abroad.
Well, the NFL and the Olympics are very similar. They're both completely corrupt.
Yeah, like they just, like you're right. Money. It's just all money. But the way I look at it is, it doesn't seem like the Packers or the Eagles are really pumped to play in this location. You have to be locked down like Sean is in your hotel room, just, the entire time you're there, and you can't go out, no internet reception. I think the reporters can't even use Twitter because Twitter's banned over there as well. So look, I just think that whoever wins this game, the Eagles, is going to be so battle tested just out of week 1. It'll feel like a road playoff game because of all the things that you're not used to, the traveling, the weird situation. It's only going to make them better coming out of this.
No, it's real funky. And it doesn't make sense why they'd really do it, because like you're saying, it's just not a big sport there. But for whatever reason, Brazil wanted to pony up and give the NFL probably tens, hundreds of millions to have their city host an NFL game, let alone being the second game of the entire season against, one of the best teams that they're projected to have in the NFC, and then an up and coming team that just beat the Cowboys last year in the playoffs. Like, it's going to be a big game. I just don't understand why the hell it's being played there. It's stupid that we're losing a home game. It's stupid that they have to do all this nonsense just to get the extra dollar in a multi-billion-dollar industry that's certainly not hurting for any money. It's stupid that Sean has to be sitting here on the podcast on his phone. But look, week 1, we're going to be over at home base watching the game with hundreds of other Birds fans. They've already sold out. They sold out. I know, Coach, we're talking last episode. Get on there, reserve your games. We posted the link and everything. Every table has sold out. There's still going to be bar seating, high top seating. So if you want to come to the best place to watch a game, head on over to home base on 202 in Delaware. It's going to be awesome. Like we said, Real Mama Eagle's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Still trying to talk Sean into going. Who knows? He's maybe stuck in the garage still at that point, but we're going to find out.
I'm going to figure out how to get out of here within the next couple days, guys. I promise. Now, listen, I think a lot of it has been made out of how dangerous and all the things that the players are being told not to do. That's pretty generic, like international travel guidelines. Like, yes, there's going to be some things that you should do to make sure you don't get robbed. Like, obviously, don't show too many signs of wealth. Like, don't walk around with a big fat chain. Don't walk around with a ton of jewelry. Don't wear the nicest clothes you can possibly find. Like, try not to bring too much attention to yourself. But that's literally like any international place that you've ever gone to. So, like, I don't buy that it's going to be like just an absolute nightmare in Brazil. But what I don't understand is why go to a place that does not give a shit about football, right? You're having these guys. Again, it's an incredibly high-profile game amongst two of the more popular teams in the league, right? Both coming off of relatively good seasons, right? There's a lot of hype behind this game, and it's the beginning of the year. Everybody's going to be tuning in and watching, and there's going to be fans that really don't give a shit, or you're pricing out only the richest of the Eagles and Packers fans of the lot. So it's like in any event, no matter who's showing up, it's a watered down product, and it's exhausting. It's your first week of the season, and you're going to need a bye afterwards just to recoup. Like I think the safety concerns are overblown, but don't let that confuse you with I cannot understand why this game is being played in Brazil.
No.
And I want to know too, guys, is you know how normally like on a Thursday night game back in the day, it used to be two like shit teams, just random like, oh, this Thursday night football game is going to be pretty
worst
terrible.
Game of the week.
Yeah, worst game of the week. Or when they first started doing the London games, like the London game was like, ew, it's the Falcons without man versus like the 2-9 Chargers. Like, ew, this game sucks. Why would you choose to have two historic big-time fan base team and up-and-coming NFC contender teams going to Brazil? Why would you choose that? That's what I don't understand. Brazil would be happy with any two teams over there. Am I right? Like if you're in another country and you want to see American football, you're not like, oh, I got to see the best two teams in the NFC play. I have to. No, you're like,
give me like a Browns-Panthers game.
Yeah, like I just don't understand how like that you chose those two franchises. I don't know.
No, it's stupid. We've been really lucking out lately with obviously the Super Bowl season, we know Jay Ajayi and all them went to London. Of course, he couldn't play in his hometown. He's injured and everything. But we've really lucked out for the most part with not getting a lot of these international games, with not losing the home game. And I just kind of knew it was coming. We only had the one game in London, but it was an away game for us. We won it handedly. We hadn't had any other big international games. We were always rumored, this game in Germany, this game in London, this game here. Like, Eagles are one of the teams rumored to get it, and we always kind of skated away, not having to do it. Unfortunately, that time came where we had to pay the piper. We got to go down to Brazil, play this game. Doesn't make sense for all the reasons we've already listed, but the game itself is going to be incredible. I think it's going to be a great start to the season. I really do like the Packers are one of our tougher opponents this year, and I like that we're catching them early. They're a young team, especially on offense. They're a very young team. And week 1 in the NFL, we've said it on the pod a million times, it's the weirdest week in all sports. Like, the weirdest week. You have teams that have no business winning games, winning handedly. You had teams losing games that never should have. You got all kinds of crazy things happen. Guys that stink have all-star games. Everything happens in week 1. But I really feel as though, all of the added extra in this game, with it being international, with it being week one, with it being a Friday, with all these different things, even with the extra security of them just going from the hotel into the armored vehicle to the game and all, I think that bodes well in more the Eagles side. They have more of a veteran presence on the team. They have a little bit more of a proven track record. I understand they have 2 new coordinators and all, but these aren't brand new guys. It seems like they're adapting to their schemes very well. And even the defense, where we talk about Vic Fangio's defense being so difficult and so hard to grasp and everything, I think week one with their young offense is going to be a lot easier for us, because they're still trying to figure out exactly what they can do with all their first, second, third year offensive weapons. A quarterback that's only coming into his second year as a starter, who just got paid an astronomical amount of money without really having proven it in the long term yet. I think it's going to really kind of bode well for the Eagles more so than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking this is going to be a huge shootout on both sides. I think both defenses might have to play a little bit of catch up. I know you're saying Jordan defense is young. They have, I think, the youngest starting skill position group in the NFL, if I'm not mistaken, with no vested veterans on the receiving core. But I honestly think that it's going to be a little bit of a tough challenge for the Eagles defense. New scheme, right? New players. You got some young guys in that secondary and on that D line. Some new faces.
And let's be honest, the field's probably going to be shit.
That's another thing we don't know about. What is that field going to be like? Although, like,
we've seen the great equalizer when we had the best defensive line in football turn into absolutely nothing with a terrible field. Like, this field could be shit, or it could be incredible, because obviously we said they love their soccer there, and that's played on some pretty nice grass, but it's a completely different sport with completely different shoes. Completely different things they're trying to accomplish. So I have no idea what it's going to be like.
Okay. Have we heard anything about what the surface is going to be like?
No, and I've been looking out for it. But again, how much are we going to hear? We're looking on Twitter and everything. They can't tweet.
You can't tweet. That is going to be interesting.
Brazilians don't have like the blue monsoon, the ultra hydrated bullshit like in the Super Bowl. No, this is grass. We're overthinking this greatly. Okay, to hell with all the damn. You saw
the field in Mexico, right? When they played, not the Eagles, but when the NFL played in Mexico, right?
What?
You saw when they played in Mexico City, right? That field was garbage.
Okay, but both teams are going to be playing in it no matter what. Like, who cares? Like, there's no speculation. There's no like, I don't know. There's not some super hybrid, sexy blade of grass that we're going on. It's the same stuff that they've been playing soccer on, guys. I'm not here to gloss over, to talk about how the 2,000-mile travel is going to be hard on the guys.
Can we build our excuses in just in case? Can we get our excuses built in, Sean, just in case something happens?
Are you forgetting that we're a better team?
No.
Are we just glossing over this? Like, we are a better team than the Packers. I'm not saying that they're not a good team. And yes, you're right. The week one is wild. Like, the whole day from beginning to end, you're just cueing the Benny Hill theme. Just the wacky shit's going on. But you can't predict that. You can't predict the wacky shit. You can't predict how goofy the running surface is going to be. All you can go off of is who the better team is right now. And it's the Eagles. Like,
let's go position by position. I'll save the one that everybody's really going to be scratching their head at for last. Offensive line, Eagles or Packers?
It's Eagles.
Birds.
Yeah, running back, Eagles or Packers?
Birds.
Eagles, but it's
I like Josh Jacobs, but because of the Eagles having the better offensive line, I'll give it to the Eagles.
Good point there. Good point.
Wide receivers. Wide receiver 1 and 2, I think it's clear-cut Eagles.
Yeah, agree.
3, like if you want to say Christian Watson's their third, maybe if he's healthy, maybe he's a little
before
bit.
His hamstring pops off his ass.
Exactly. If he's healthy, I don't even think maybe. If he's healthy, I think he's clearly better than Dotson. But again, we're talking about wide receiver 3 here.
Mm-hmm.
Tight end.
Eagles.
Birds.
Yeah. So offense, and then I'll save the offensive side for last. Quarterback. It's
maybe push. You can maybe push there.
Yeah, you can wash it. And I'm fine with that. I could understand people. I could understand people saying Love. I could understand people saying Hurts. We'll just say push. We'll all go with push. Either way. So we have possibly a push at running back, but we're given a slight edge to Saquon because of the Eagles offensive line. We have an easy win on Eagles offensive line. Eagles wide receiver 1 and 2, tight end, And that's it. That's it on the offense side. And then a push at quarterback. So you're looking at nothing where they are outright ahead of us other than wide receiver 3. But again, that's wide receiver 3. And you're looking at every other position being either a heavy Eagles favorite or, I know, Kona, right? My dog's just losing her mind. Like, it's ridiculous. And then you can go on the defensive side of the ball. And then this is where it kind of comes a little bit more into question, because it's defense is also so much of scheme. And obviously we know the same with offense, because we saw what Brian Johnson did to this offense. We had a bunch of great weapons on, turning it to next to nothing. But you're looking at defense where Darius Slay and Quinyon Mitchell should be better. Linebackers, obviously yet to be determined, but we can probably say the Eagles have the worst linebacking core, just because that's their biggest weakness in all of and on their entire team, or at least that's what we perceive to be. Defensive line, what do you think, Eagles?
That might be a push too.
Yeah.
Because they have Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness, and who else?
But here's the biggest difference. Even if that's a push, here's the biggest difference. We're talking about the Eagles defensive line versus the Packers O-line, and the Packers defensive line versus the Eagles O-line. So even if just in a neutral setting, they're a push, at the end of the day, it's probably going a little bit towards the Birds.
See, that's a good point. When you put it against the counterparts position group, that does it for me. When you say it like that, I can see the clearer picture there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and of course, we don't know how well this defense is going to pan out. There's a lot of brand new tasks, right? With them running a brand new scheme. We don't entirely know. This defensive line has the potential to be a top, 5, 6, 7 unit in the NFL. It might not, right? That I think we can, I don't know if we want to spend too much time talking about it, but that is probably the unit where has the greatest variability in where we could fall, right? I mean, this could be a top 5 unit. This could be like a top 20 unit. I'm not entirely sure how it's going to pan out, but I mean, if the coaching is fine, the rotation works well. I mean, this team could be feasting, not quite 2022 level, but not far behind.
I think if Jordan Davis is in shape, everybody else falls in line on this defensive line. I think that is the key cog in this entire thing, is if you get a healthy, in shape Jordan Davis, I mean, that allows Jalen Carter to eat, Bryce Huff, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, all these guys.
Look, Jordan Davis still garnered, even out of shape, still garnered 53% double teams.
And that's what he's supposed to do. None of what he does is going to be sexy, but man, if what you do allows Jalen Carter to be one-on-one, then that's all I need. That's all I need.
Did you guys catch any of Vic Fangio's press conference earlier?
Bits and pieces.
Yeah. According to Fangio, Jordan Davis is one fat piece of shit right now and will not be in shape at any time now, in the future, possibly ever. So I've been very high on Jordan. We're going to find out. We're going to find out real soon if he's in game shape.
So
I love this. I love Fangio's direct.
What did he say? Like roughly,
you need to be perfect type shit. I love that.
He just said he's not ready to play a very high workload. And very bluntly, I too am loving some of these press conferences where he is not ashamed to be like, bro, listen, this guy, he's not picking up the playbook very fast, And that Jordan Davis asked him about him, and he was like, I don't know, he's just not going to be ready, or he's not going to be playing too many snaps because he can't.
Oh man, I mean, it's brutal. But then doesn't it make you also feel pretty good? Like I saw he was just outright giving Q praises, Quinyon Mitchell. You got to see if he's being brutally honest about somebody negatively, there'd be no reason to assume that he's going to be, sugarcoating anything when it comes to positive things. So him being that positive about Q has got to bode pretty well for that. But obviously none of us were very concerned about Quinyon Mitchell heading into it. But James Bradbury, who knows what role he was really going to have, if any. We know he's out 6 to 8 weeks. Isaiah Rodgers is back. He had a small little nagging something, but he's back practicing this week. Looks like he's going to be a full go for week 1. So either way, he said, Q can fit almost anywhere in the Eagles cornerback core right now. So that's great.
And Vic Fangio reminds me of Charlie Manuel a little bit. And I remember a game where the Phillies hit 4 home runs, and they're asking Charlie Manuel about how the game went. And the Phillies hit 4 home runs. He's like, yeah, one of those was on a 3-0 pitch where he got the green light, and the other one was lucky he guessed on a slider, right? He's like, we didn't see the ball well. We didn't see the ball well at all. And, like, I like that. Like, I like a guy that's not going to basically be, like, going to go so hard on you. Like, one of those coaches that's going to so hard that you feel like nothing's ever good enough, and you have to keep going. Like, we expect perfection here. This is what we expect. Perfection on every play. Like, not a perfect game, but on this one play, you will be perfect. And I think that's cool that he doesn't, because what does Philly media and Philly fans talk about all the time? Don't give me the talk, we got to take it one game at a time. We just got to put in the work. And, they don't want to hear that. So here's Vic Fangio on the other side saying, yeah, he's in the best shape possible. Yeah, he's not ready to play all the plays that I'd expect him to play. Same with Cooper DeJean.
Jordan Davis. You mean Fat Albert? No, he's not playing.
But I kind of like that. It makes guys subconsciously want to up their game, I guess,
Yeah, I mean, but what were the reports of why he left Miami last year? Apparently, a lot of the guys did not like that he was that was pretty much the reason why they said the defense kind of gave up on him. Also, their defense sucked. So it didn't help that they just legitimately didn't have skill. And then they had their defense.
They had 8 injuries. They had 8 injuries on their defense too. I mean.
Yeah, but you just heard the reports were that Vic Fangio they did not like that he called people out directly.
Oh.
Look, I think it's soft. I'm with you. I'd much rather have somebody be more direct. And again, it's at time and place. You don't go after the game. And let's say he was our defense coordinator last year. We all knew the Seattle game. James Bradbury fucking blew it for us. We all knew that, but you still didn't really want the defensive coordinator to be like, "Look, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not James Bradbury. Who blew the game? It's not me. Did I get beat on double move 8 times in a row? No, James Bradbury did." You want that in behind closed doors. You don't want somebody doing that, diming the players out to the media and all. And I don't think that he would. I think being honest with Jordan Davis, and again, it's not like he outright said Jordan Davis is a fat piece of shit who probably shouldn't be on this team. He was like, no, the guy's not ready for a full workload yet. We're still working conditioning up. And again, I'm guessing. I didn't hear it. Correct me if he did say, no, Jordan Davis is, in fact.
That was pretty much verbatim. Yeah. Now he's gonna have to watch it. It's all good during training camp, right? You're being graded on how you're playing each and every day. That's all they have to go off of, right? Also, +1 on the it's really impressive that Quignon was getting such high praise. Like the guy was equally gloating about how he can play every single down in this league, and he plans on it, finding a way to get him out there. But yeah, you better watch it. Talking like he is after a big loss. I can definitely see how he lost the locker room in Miami. Yeah. Right? If you're not a winning football team, it's one thing if it's one loss and your team is 10-1, right?
But I think it also hurt that Miami's offense was historic and they were losing games 45-42. Obviously it's on the defense, and I think that kind of added to it as well, where they knew full-heartedly, you cannot blame the offense. They had 700 all-purpose yards and you lost this game. No shit, it's on the defense.
That's a good point.
They can't be like, well, if Raheem Mostert got his 5th touchdown, maybe we would have won. No, man, if you stopped one offensive drive by the other team. So I think we have that in our favor a little bit, because I think our defense is miles better than last year's Dolphins defense, injuries aside.
But our defense is also better than our defense last year. And that's really all that matters, right?
Scheme, personnel and scheme.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, again, we're assuming scheme. Again, we gave our last week season predictions, and we all kind of said it's probably a little bloated, but we looked at that schedule and we're like, before everything, assuming that Kellen Moore is going to be as good as we think he is, assuming that we're going to be able to grasp this Vic Fangio defense and just be a middle of the pack defense, this is what we think. Who knows? We could be way better. We could be way fucking worse. You know what I mean? We're just assuming that we're going to be a slightly above average defense in a top 5, top 3 offense.
I don't think we can even call it an assumption. You'd have to purposely try to lose intentionally to be worse than we were defensively last year.
Oh, for sure.
You would literally have to be a transplant from the Dallas Cowboys that is going undercover and just literally sabotaging everything to be worse than we were last year defensively. It was that bad.
Yeah.
And offensively, the word better, can be broken down many ways. Like, what do you define as better? But the scheme will be better. I can guarantee that the scheme will be. The results remain to be seen, but I guarantee you the creativity, the scheme, the deception, the whatever you want to call that, it's going to be a lot different. And I'm excited to see it, because I'm excited to see Smitty in the slot, AJ coming out the backfield, 2 tight end sets, shifting, all this stuff.
Yeah,
Jake, you just talked about week one being the weirdest thing. And especially for a defense, their first game. And your first game, you're going against Kellen Moore in his fucking bag with all the people that you just listed on offense. Like, that's got to be a fucking nightmare, dude. It has to be.
Look, real quick, Joey, can you just double check and make sure Orlando Scandrick didn't make the 53-man roster? Like, that's the only person that could be holding us back. There's no moles on this team, right? Anything other than Christian McCaffrey being able to call out on live TV what play we're about to run because it's so painfully obvious. And this team is going to be fine. Like, if this team plays up to its potential, my 15-2 record prediction is going to look so underwhelming. Like, I am so excited to just not know exactly what we're going to be running, right? I am so excited to see a defense that hopefully knows how to tackle, right? If those two things can come into fruition, and I know they will, we're going to be whipping up on some teams this year. This is going to feel like 2017 for a couple weeks in there, where we're winning like 45-13. Like, I know we're trying to undersell it here. I'm not afraid to sell it the way it is. I think we're going to be whooping up on a lot of teams this year.
No, I mean, I would love to bring back, we're going to get into the over-unders. We always do the weekly over-unders towards the end of the episode where we're guessing. I would love to be able to get back into, like, hey, over-under Kenny Pickett snaps when we're up 30 in the fourth. Like, nothing would make me happier when we were doing that in the Super Bowl season where Jalen Hurts and everybody was just whooping up early on teams. We're like, hey, over-under, how many, I don't even remember who the backup was that year, but we were like, over-under, how many,
Minshew.
Oh yeah, of course. Over under. How many snaps Minshew take in this game? Because we know Hurts is probably out halfway through the fourth or the entire fourth. Like, I would love to get back into that. And look, we should be great. Sean, I love the optimism. I really do. I just need to see it 1 week. Again, I'm still like, you'll hear our score predictions. And you obviously heard 15-2 was our resounding answer for the record this season. But we did kind of leave that like, oh, that felt a little lofty, little biased.
Didn't say we weren't homers here.
No.
Well, did you guys see Karl Anthony Towns? Obviously, all-star center for the Minnesota Timberwolves, wearing his Eagles jersey on either an ESPN show or a podcast or something like that. And they had him as like a guest picker for something, and they were going through the Eagles schedule. And he was like 17-0. Stop asking me questions. He's like, it's 17-0. Like, what do y'all asking me questions for? I'm not picking a game where we're losing. Next question. I was like, okay, I kind of like you now. Like,
yeah,
all right.
All right, Cat.
I like that. But with that being said, Jake, you and I talk about all the time about like coming up with this random question that we didn't talk about before the show to ask you guys, kind of catch you off guard, something Eagles related, and just see what your answer is. So I got one if you're both ready for it.
I mean, it's better if we're not ready for it.
I'm not.
I got one if you're both not ready for it.
So go.
We are not ready.
And now we're ready. So my question is, and it's a little weird. One position on offense, one position on defense. You get to pick who the Eagles, besides Jalen Hurts, could most least likely afford to lose to injury. Like, if we lost this person on offense or lost this person on defense, this is the last person I would want to lose, just because it's the Jenga piece at the bottom that can make everything fall. And you can't choose Jalen, obviously.
I mean, I think offense, it's easy.
Offense, one person comes to mind for sure. And it's Lane Johnson.
Lane Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah, offense was immediately, I was like, well, Lane. I can't lose Lane. Defense, and I'm sorry, who'd you say we can't pick on defense?
Anybody. You can pick anybody.
You just said offense, Jalen Hurts. Defense is anybody?
Yeah.
So this is going to be a tough one. I can see us going a number of different ways. I just think from the last 2 seasons, and we've seen him 1 year with and 1 year without him. I'm going C.J. Gardner-Johnson. This guy,
dude, I was going to say C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
That's my pick as well. That's my pick as well.
Are you kidding me?
Just the difference in this defense when he was in the team on the team versus not, like it was night and day. Like this team was ready to punch other teams in the mouth, right, when he was on it. And for whatever reason, man, last year you take a look at that 49ers game where everybody on the Niners dressed up like it was a funeral, and we dug our own grave and let them bury us. Like the scene in Step Brothers where he's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm burying you." Like we allowed that to happen, and I couldn't believe it, and I never want to see it again. C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
No, I just want to say, I'm alive. Stop! You're waking the neighbors.
So when I thought about this question, I had the same answer on defense, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, just because, regardless of what you think of Bradbury, he's hurt. I mean, like who else? Like you're looking at replacements, like with Darius Slay. Like Darius Slay obviously comes to mind, but then you're like, look, Q is now getting praised by him. Isaiah Rodgers is the other outside corner. Quinyon or Ringo could go out there, and you feel okay.
Yeah, you don't feel like obviously it hurts, but again, and I love Slay as a person and especially as a teammate. Everybody knows I've been a little bit lesser on Slay than most people have. I think he's a slightly above average corner, not anywhere close to these elite corners that people still kind of categorize him in. But I think his value as a teammate, as a leader, as a captain of the defense is huge as well. But that's kind of why I didn't have him in there. But Coach, I'm sorry to interrupt your role there.
No, you're good. You're good. And look, I struggled with offense. Lane Johnson was the first thing that came to my mind too, because I think there's like a stat out there, right? Like with Lane and without Lane, what the record is, and it's astronomical. But I was like, let me be a little contrarian on this one. I went with Cam Jurgens.
That was honestly my second pick because of our conversation. Because of our conversation last week.
Yeah, who's snapping the ball? Dylan McMahon, a 6th round pick that is no bigger than any of us. Rookie out of nowhere, and then you pair him right next to Mekhi Becton, who's playing guard for the first time in his life, and all of a sudden that interior, that right, middle right side looks a little weak to me. So I just went with Cam just because, one, you're replacing Kelsey, who's a legend, and I think last year if you would have said Kelsey could have been the answer if not Lane. So it's just interesting to think about. Like I wanted to think of one guy who you would say this is the last person I can afford to lose on either side of the ball.
Well, you talk about who's backing up the center. Who's backing up Jordan Mailata? Like if he goes out, you've got an arguably a more important position, right? Especially with your right-handed quarterback. This is blind spot. I mean, I don't know the difference in starting ability between him and who's his backup.
Fred Johnson, maybe?
Yeah, I think for Fred Johnson. I'll pull up the official Eagles depth chart. The Eagles dropped one not just this past week, but I believe it's Fred Johnson. Also, you guys hear Fred Johnson talking to the media. That was him just
that was cool.
Singing Stout's praises. He was like, I thought I was done. Like, and Stout told me, like, no, I'm not giving up. Like, you got it. Like, I'm not giving up on you. That was cool.
Yeah, I tweeted something and I kind of got a little bit of backlash about it. And it mainly, believe it or not, it mainly came from watching.
Johnson is the backup.
He is the backup? Okay.
Darian Kinnard is the backup for Lane.
That's scary.
That's bad.
This is what I was saying. I was watching the preseason games of the Eagles, and if I know we all did, the starters didn't play. Those games were a tough watch. A tough watch. And you could say, oh, it's just the backups. It's a new system, it's this and that. And all my tweet said was, I am really scared about the depth on the Eagles. I think their starters are amazing. I think they have elite starters on both sides of the ball, top heavy, whatever you want to call it. But if Kenny Pickett has to get in there with Fred Johnson or with Darian Kinnard blocking, or some of these other guys we just named, like, I am not crazy about this depth. Like before, you'd have a guy like Jack Driscoll would come in and play guard for 3 games. He'd be okay, or Cam would slide to guard, or whatever the case is. We'd even have, Big V would slide out there to left tackle for 2 games and we'd manage, Now I'm like, damn, like this, I'm worried about the depth. And again, I'm not trying to be doomsday here. I'm just trying to say, from what you guys are saying, when we're sitting here naming backups, that's just kind of like an eyebrow raise. Like, yeah, it's not great.
Well, I mean, we did talk earlier during the draft cycle about how, like, all right, well, we're not going to spend any sort of big picks on any sort of lineman here, right? So this is what you get. This is the 3rd rounders, the 5th rounders, right? This is what we have. There's only but so many good, starting caliber players we're going to keep on a team, and there's 31 other teams that they can be starting for fighting jobs. So yeah, bottom line is, from top to bottom, any team in the league, you start missing too many players, your team's going to be struggling. I don't even know how Steelers stuck around with Kenny Pickett for so long. That guy's virtually unwatchable, right? It's at some point the talent's going to come to a halt here. Like, the starters, just be grateful that we have as many quality starters as possible, and worry about the injuries as they come. We will bitch about the depth when the starters get hurt, and I am not going to bitch one bit about them until then.
But do we also say this, guys? And I'm like contradicting my own self here. Like, I'm calling my own self out right now before you guys fucking can. Is there any team in the league where if like their starting center or left tackle went down, they'd be comfortable with the backup in there? Like, are we kidding ourselves?
Yeah, no,
every team probably has a problem then, right? Like,
yeah, of course.
And if every team has a problem, no team has a problem.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
And we're talking about Kellen Moore, who I feel would be able to. You have somebody go out, they're going to be able to shift up plays and disguise the weakness a lot better than we were with Brian Johnson last year. Like, we're going to be able to move guys in, some backs into chip. We no longer have Boston Scott in there as a blocking running back, all 5'5", 5'6". Like, we're going to have a little bit more meat back there. We're going to have some guys that can do a fine job to give a little bit added protection. You have, Dallas Goedert can stay in and kind of chip and release, just give Jalen a little bit extra time in case anything goes wrong on the offensive line as far as injuries go. Also, code word this episode, pumpernickel. For anybody listening for the Phillies postseason tickets, you need the code word for extra entry. So if you're listening, code word is pumpernickel.
Excellent.
Great bread.
Yeah, above average bread. Yeah, very good.
Actually, I take that back. That's probably actually one of my least favorite breads.
No, you could have just said bread.
Barney kind of hyped it up a little bit, the songs and whatnot, but a little underwhelming.
Is what it is.
You know what that sound is. That's the sound of summer, and there's no better way to kick off this summer season than with an ice-cold Dewey beer. Dewey Beer recently voted the #1 brew pub in the nation. The nation, #1 brew pub with locations in Delaware and even in Colorado, has some of the coldest, crispest, most delicious beer I have ever tasted. And you're going to be able to get it for free at the Talkin 215 free beer Phillies tailgates. We're always advertising them on our social media, but enough about that. Let's talk about Dewey for a little bit. Locally owned and operated, they use only the finest ingredients and go through a painstaking process to make sure that the best product possible is in that can, and you need that can in your hand. Head on over to deweybeerco.com to see where Dewey is sold near you and get yourself some of the delicious El Trono, Swishy Pants, or any of their other incredible beers. Dewey Beer. Let's kick off summer right, folks.
All right, over-unders for week 1. We already did the season over-unders and everything like that, so I'm just going to go right into the over-unders for week 1 in Brazil, starting with the offensive side of the ball. Jalen Hurts, over-under 285.5 passing yards.
I'll go under.
That's a good line. I think, Joey, you even said it earlier where, chances are this game is probably going to be a barn burner, right? It just kind of has the makings of it, with both teams having pretty good offenses and some defenses that, if they're going to be exposed, it might be week 1. I'm probably going to go over for like all of these offensive stats because I think this is going to be a high scoring affair. I'm going over.
I'm waiting to hear your score prediction because I believe I was told double digits last week from you. So we're going to have to find out, especially if you're saying it's going to be super high scoring offensively. At some point, I guess the Packers are going to have to stop scoring. I'm going to go over. like we said, there's just so many different people that can be getting this ball, even with Saquon as being a much better pass catching back than anybody we've had in recent memory. So I see him getting over that, and I see it being in the mid 300s pretty quickly. Sticking with Jalen, passing touchdowns over under 2.5.
Ball's going to get spread around, right? I mean, there's so many mouths to feed. Let's feed all of them. I'm going over.
I'm going under, and this isn't because I don't think Jalen Hurts is good. Wow. I can see 275 and 2 touchdowns. I think he's going to run in for one, and I think Saquon's going to run in for one.
So you have him 4 offensive touchdowns? Weak.
Hater.
Saquon, speaking of, over under 100 rushing yards. 99.5. How about that?
This is my over.
There you go.
This is my over.
Wow. I'm actually going to go under on this one.
There you go.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring passing affair.
Give me over, but I do think it's going to be one of these early runs, and he busts it for like 60, and then he finishes the game with like maybe another 50, but he gets most of it in one run. Let's go on over to defense. Total sacks for the Eagles, over under 3.5.
That's a good number. That's a great
line.
Yeah. If I had to guess, we just missed that. Right. I don't know how much some of those Fangio defenses are known for super high sack numbers. Even though I did say earlier in the episode we'd figure it out. It probably doesn't come week 1. I'm going to go under.
There you go.
I got to go under too. You watch Jordan Love play. This guy gets rid of the football quick.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, he gets it out of his hands quick. So sometimes you could win as a defensive lineman, and the way you affect the play is by an incomplete pass, not a sack. So I'll go under.
There you go. Well, I'll go over because why not? Over under total Eagles takeaways. 1.5.
It goes back to, I think the offenses have a bit of an advantage in this week 1, week 2, the very early weeks of the season. So I'd be happy to get one. I think it's a bit more, but we're probably not going to take away it twice. So I'm going to go under.
Exactly with Sean there.
All right, fine. I'll go over as well. Win margin over. No, I'm kidding. We'll get to a score prediction at the very end. Do want to talk real quick though. How about that 4-game Braves series? Stretching the lead to 7. What, 7? Yeah. Stretching the lead to 7 into September. Handling business. I mean, that I didn't get to go to any of the games. We had obviously tickets to Sunday. I had to work at 24 on the ambulance yesterday. So we did the trivia giveaways and all. So appreciate everybody participating in that. Something that we'd love to continue to do. I love all these people are probably like, you should give away more tickets. I'm like, dude, I'm trying. And also, we're like the only podcast giving away tickets on a almost weekly basis. So hop off. But it looked like the atmosphere was absolutely insane at the bank, and I cannot wait for postseason baseball to come back.
This was the first series that it felt like we were back, right? And we've been playing well ever since, in any game that Taijuan Walker doesn't play in. We've been playing reasonably well the last month or so. But this is the one time where I was like, okay, these guys can get, the opposing starting pitcher can go pretty deep into the game, can pitch them well, and this team didn't show any quit, right? This is like, okay, we might be able to persevere in a playoff-like atmosphere if we play 9 innings of baseball. Yep. And I tweeted and joked about not being able or not wanting to tweet anything until the 6th inning. And I might have to make it a rule because every single one of these games, I was fist fighting my couch until right around the 5th, 6th, 7th inning. And then I ended up being fine. So I was like, every single day, I was like, you know what? I'm glad I didn't tweet until the 6th today.
I have to tip my cap to the pitching staff. I think the pitching staff.
Devez, man, holy shit, that guy.
2 straight innings with a ghost runner on second, and he doesn't allow a run. That's clutch. Matt Strahm got himself into a little bit of a jam. Bases loaded, 1 out, and
also got screwed by the ump.
With no runs, he did. That was that one breaking pitch was a strike.
Look, it was barely a strike.
Yeah.
He just needed to lock in, right? He loaded him up and he took one big deep breath and said, "All right, now I can start."
He said,
Now
"All
I can
right."
pitch. You want strikes? You want strikes? I'm not going to throw a fucking ball until I'm
Bro,
out of the
he
inning.
threw like 9 straight fastballs to end that inning. He was like, "Oh, okay, you're not calling the breaking ball? No problem." He
Yes.
threw, and all of them were high outside corner, the top outside corner. He was like, "All right, 94 to 97, top outside corner, every single pitch." And I was sitting there and I was like, you know what? Do it again. The batter can't think he won't throw a 9th fastball in a row.
0-2 count, and he's like, "I'm painting. I'm not even putting the brush away, baby. You think because I walk the bases loaded, you think I don't have control right now? Watch this. Watch me."
That was awesome to see, man. Shout out to the bullpen there. Shout out to Nola and Wheels. They did their thing. I thought the pitching was great during the 4-game series. You know, also, hats off to Castellanos. I mean, Castellanos is our best hitter right now, and that's both good and scary that he's our best hitter at the moment. But I will say, as awesome as it was to win 3 of 4 from the Braves, as awesome as it was to see dominant pitching and dominant bullpen, the Phillies were 4 for 26 in that series with runners in scoring position, guys. 4 for 26. Do you know 3 of those 4 hits came from Castellanos?
Yikes.
So one for 22 from the rest of the Phillies lineup for an entire 4-game series. 1 for 22. And by the way,
I'm sorry. I feel like we were grinding into double plays every single time we had gotten a guy on first and second. It didn't matter. It felt like nobody could hit. Well, everybody could hit until we got into runners in scoring position. And then as soon as we got runners in scoring position, it was inning over. It did not matter how
they're like tailor-made double plays. And they're not like not even hard where the guys dive in. It's like hit directly to them, like for the most routine double play you've seen. And the thing that was most concerning to me was Phillies were down 2-0 in the 6th, as Sean stated in the last game. 2-0 in the 6th, runners on second and third, and Casty gets RBI double, 2 RBI double to tie it up 2-2.
Yeah.
Do you know the Phillies did not have another hit, a single, until the bottom of the 11th inning? And it was Castellanos again, with 2 outs, by the way, with 2 outs.
I got to fact check this.
So nobody from the 6th to the 11th inning, 5 straight innings, even got a hit if your name was not Castellanos. He had all 3 RBIs. This is bad. The 1 through 3 in this lineup are pissing me off so much between Schwarber, Trey, and Bryce. I need something from those guys. You can't count on an Edmundo Sosa.
Holy shit, he's right. Nobody got a hit until the 11th. I had to fact check it, and you are correct.
Here, baby. I'm here. You can count on me for the Twitter updates of the Phillies haven't scored in 13 straight innings. The Phillies haven't gotten a hit in 12 straight innings. Like, I'm here for that negative shit, okay? I'm here for it. But it's the same guy, Jake.
Yeah.
So one person got a hit between the 6th and 11th inning, and it was the same human, the same person.
Yeah,
so
I mean, there were good at bats in there. Like stinking Schwarber hit one 111 miles per hour into the outfield, just right at a guy. I mean, any ball hit over it, I think they said like 105 has a batting average, like in between the foul lines, it's a batting average of 775. So I mean, like he barreled that ball up. I think it was Clemens barreled one up to directly to the first baseman at like 104. Like, so we had some that were still pretty damn good at bats.
I don't care about that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't care about outs.
I don't either. I think Schwarber has lost any and all of his aura. He needs to go.
Where's his power? Where's this dude used to crank home runs to Yetters?
There's no energy. There's no juice. There's no Riz. There's no his
you dropped an aura and Riz in the same rant.
Bro, his walk-up song comes on and everybody can like go get a pretzel or something at the ballpark. Like I don't understand how like most of this lineup can be shuffled around when they're struggling, but Schwarber, no matter what, is leadoff, like, and has never faltered. Every single game he's played, he's been leadoff. Like I don't understand how that can be the one consistent, and it's been like the most controversial like decision in Thompson's tenure here. I don't get it. Castellanos with his just no approach Nicky might as well end up being like of legend, right, when it's all said and done. And also, can I give my flowers to Aaron Nola right now? I feel like with all of the inconsistency throughout this team, throughout the starting pitching staff, I feel like we've complained to no end. It feels like Nola has been the one person that has gone without getting rocked and has just played rock solid baseball for the last like month and a half. I might be missing a single start in there, but the guy's been pitching his ass off, and I have not found myself complaining about him in I couldn't tell you how long. And normally it's like clockwork.
Oh yeah.
Right? Normally I can't wait to jump down his throat, and I trust him. I've trusted him over the last couple of months more than I think I ever have in the regular season.
And on top of that, you talk about giving flowers. We do need to give some to Nola. We gave some to Casty. I'll never give a Brave flowers, but I will say Michael Harris made one of the greatest catches I've ever in my life. And I'm not exaggerating that. One of the great, Jake, you had the perfect tweet. Like, all you can do is tip your hat to that. Like, I'm not going to say lucky. I'm not going to say, come on. I'm going to be like, oh my God. That was one of the greatest catches I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably the greatest catch I've watched live.
Yeah,
like, we've all seen replays of like incredible catches, but
if that play had happened like 60 years ago, like that was like the Hank Aaron over the back, like if that happened 60 years ago, like we would still be talking about it now. Like our grandfathers would be like, okay, but was it Michael Harris at Citizens Bank level good? Like that was awesome.
And you remember, this is the same son of a bitch. I say that in like giving him praise because he's a thorn in our side. This is the same dude that started the attaboy Harper from Arcia when Casty drove one that should have been either a home run or off the wall game time double. He catches it and then doubles up Harp. I get why Harper's running because the probability of that catch was like 2% and makes that catch too. And then the game yesterday, he robs Trey of a single in the first at bat, just diving. I'm like, fuck this dude, man. Like, get out of here. Like, he's doing what Rojas does to people, and I get the frustration.
Also, going back to a couple episodes ago, talking about MLB The Show rankings, Rojas, 82 overall. Seems kind of high.
Whoa.
Fielding, speed, defense. Yeah,
that's got to be. But, like, I mean, they got to put some other stuff into account there.
Yeah, it's a little too heavily weighted towards the defensive metrics, I think.
Can I ask you guys a question? And you all watched did you guys watch the whole game, last game?
Yes.
Going to
I was working at the beginning of it, so I caught like
I caught it from probably the third inning on. Third or fourth inning.
You caught extras, right?
Oh,
yeah.
I want to know what you were saying to yourself and what you were thinking in your head when the Braves did not score in the first extra innings. We started a ghost runner on second. I tweeted out, please God, bunt the runner over to third. Let's sack him home and win this thing. And then I witnessed that nobody on this team besides Garrett Stubbs can bunt the ball. Nobody can move a runner over. I don't know what's going on, guys, but like there's going to be a time. Marsh
who bunted a ball over the backstop net.
And then struck out on the third pitch, like on a ball in the dirt.
Even like, Smoltz was making fun of him, like how bad it was.
But they had every right to. Our team stinks at bunting.
What I want to know is why, like when you see certain guys come up, like Bohm will come up or JT will come up, stuff like that. They're like, well, he doesn't bunt. I'm like, he doesn't bunt. What does that mean?
Bunting should be the easiest thing. Like sack bunting, like not bunting for a hit or a slap bunt, or a drag bunt. You know what I mean? Like
bunting that goes runner to third.
Yeah, bunting to a sack bunt should be one of the easiest things for an MLB hitter to do.
We can't do it. And the reason I ask you how each of you are feeling after Marsh struck out and you had to be like, the Braves are giving us the game. Like, what are we doing? Yeah. I just have this sick feeling inside of me that feels there's going to be a tie game in the playoffs in either the ninth or extra innings. And all we got to do is fucking bunt this ball. And it's going to be Bohm or JT or Marsh. And the bunt signal, the bunt signal's not going to be on because those guys don't do it. Like,
well, Harper attempted one a couple games ago.
Oh, and it was a beautiful punt. They made just a remarkable play on it.
Yeah, right. They did.
So
but that's my point. Like, are you frustrated as a fan that this could be something that could win you a game or lose you a game, and yet for some of these high-paid guys, it's not even
exactly. It's based on payroll. Like, it's based on payroll, and that's Rob Thompson. That's Rob Thompson. Like, he's like, oh, this guy makes too much money not to be a hero. This guy makes too much money to sacrifice over.
Okay, but if Harper can do it, then who's above him?
I think Harper there's no shot Harper got the signal to bunt. 0% shot.
Have you seen Trey bunt for as fast as he is?
Never.
When's the last time you saw Trey steal too, by the way? I'm asking a serious question.
No, it's nuts. It seemed like, what was it, against the Astros? They had one game they were like real aggressive on the base path, and I was like, finally, we're doing it again.
It's because we were losing.
Like, nah.
It's because Stott's the only one that steals.
Stott's the only one that tries. The only one that
steals. I don't get it.
He's fast.
Listen, and to your point, Sean, we would just rather hit into a double play than try to steal. Like,
absolutely,
why steal when you could just roll over? Like, I don't understand.
At this point, anytime a runner's on first, it doesn't matter who it is. If there's 0 outs or 1 out, it's like a bunt is a more statistically probable, like, effective play than not bunting, because we're going to ground into a double play anytime there's a runner on first. Like, it's incredible. I will tell you what, though, I've bitched so much about them not wanting to bunt that I just kind of scoff at it now. My biggest anger point, if anything, over the last couple of days is how come every single time we watch the Braves, it has to be on a nationally televised game where we have an all Atlanta broadcast? Why do we have to essentially listen to Atlanta's announcers anytime we play the fucking Braves?
You know what?
Why can't I hear T-Mac and Krunk talk smack about Atlanta?
You know what?
I have to listen to John Smoltz glaze over this entire team. If I hear the name Schwellenbach one more time, I'm gonna mute the damn thing. I'm tired of it.
Now, here's the best part, though. Both national games, we won. I love it.
And I'm watching in spite, because every 90% of the time, even in big Phillies moments, the team is like, they're just talking about, the commentators talking about the Braves. They're just talking about it as if they are sitting in Atlanta, like wearing their jerseys. I'm so over it.
Yeah, could they not get like Chipper Jones or Fred McGriff to join the telecast too? Like, what are we doing? Like, why is that? Why is it always a Braves telecast? Like, and I get why they don't want Kruk on national television. It's probably a lawsuit waiting to happen right there. Like, there's no way national television would ever have Krucky out there.
Kruk has a 99 card in MLB The Show.
Good for him. And by the way, I think Kruk reminds me of Charles Barkley, where like young fans think that they're just like this charismatic, fat, funny guy, and that's how they're claim to fame, like, and don't realize how amazing they were as players when they play. Like, Charles Barkley gets glossed over so much for that too. And I'm like, do you guys understand how good he was? Same with Kruk. Do you understand Kruk hit like 340 one year, like for the World Series team? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, this is what peak male performance looks like. Like, soak it all in.
Yeah. And if you ever have a chance to YouTube some of like Kruk's stories, he'll talk about, like, after the game, they would drink 6 beers, hadn't showered yet, just sitting there in their own nasty stench and sweat, just sitting there drinking beers, go out gambling. Then they'd have a game like 4 hours later in another city, and they'd be like, all right, let's do it. And, like, that was such an old school, like, take a drag of a cigarette. All right, I'm up.
Yeah. He had a career 300 average, a career 842 OPS.
That's insane to hit 300 for your career.
He finished his last 4 seasons were all over 300.
I mean, do we have anybody on this team currently that's hitting 300? Is Trey?
Trey, I think, is barely above 300.
I thought he just dipped below, but I might be wrong.
No, he had a couple of decent games there. I'm pulling it up now. Trey Turner, 2024. He is batting 299.
Hey. So shout out Kruk.
99.
Shout out Krucky.
Yeah, Trey Turner in 10 years. Kruk played 10 years. Trey Turner is in his 10th season. He has a career 296 average. So John Kruk greater than Trey Turner.
And faster, probably.
Probably not. What I appreciate about Kruk is he retired as soon as he was like, now I'm on the downward spiral. Nope.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
done.
you know his retirement story, right?
Yeah. I've heard it, but I just appreciated as soon as he was like, yeah, it's not going to go. It's not getting any better here, guys. I'm out of here.
Yep. See ya.
Don't see me. Yeah. Don't look for me in the second game.
Score prediction time. Going back to the Birds. I'll lead it right off. Birds, 40. Putting a 40 piece on them. 40. I'm talking 5. Count them, 5 offensive touchdowns. I'm talking a 2-point conversion they don't get because there was a penalty, and Nick Sirianni was like, we're going for 2 because we got it at the 1 yard line, and they don't get it. And I'm talking 2. Count them, 2 field goals. 40. And then I'm looking at 27 for the Pack, with 21 of them coming in the first half.
That's oddly specific.
It is.
Excellent. Listen, this is the very first game for the NFL in Brazil. Okay. We're going to want to make a statement here. Okay. There's not going to be a single rushing attempt the first half. Okay. I'm exaggerating. This is going to be a high scoring, high flying affair. I'm talking like 80-20 in terms of passing to running. Okay. And it's going to work. All right. Wow. Like Jake, I've got a scoring 40 plus. I'm going 42. I'm giving the Packers a little more credit here. I said that we'd have a double-digit win. I think I said 2 scores, but I really meant more than 8. Eagles 42, Packers 31.
Woof.
Good Lord.
I like it. Over under in this game, 48.5. Smash that
Easy.
over. Smash that
That's
over.
your Talkin 215 money line of the week.
That's the money printer of the week. Smash the over. Also,
I'm not going to go as high as
minus 2.5.
Guys, but I'm going to say Eagles 30, Packers 24, and a surprise touchdown shall be scored on special teams. New kickoff rules. I think
Isaiah Rodgers.
Isaiah Rodgers will lend his services into his new hi, I'm officially here as an Eagle. I want the fan base to embrace me, and I think he takes one back.
So the Isaiah Rodgers parlay of the week is Eagles minus 2.5, over on the total, and over on non-offensive Eagles touchdowns. That's the Isaiah Rodgers parlay of the week.
I like it.
Brought to you by Roger Goodell. Yeah. I mean, final thought. Go ahead.
I was going to say, who do you guys have as your player of the game?
Oh, yeah, I guess we should talk about that, considering I told you guys, hey, pick an offensive and defensive player of the game. I mean, I guess. I'm not going to go offensive line. I know I typically do, and that's boring. That's not me. That's not 2024, 2025 NFL season, Jake. I'm going to go a little more mainstream. Player of the game on offense for me, Saquon Barkley. I'm going to get over specific with the score prediction. I'm not going to say anything else for that.
I think much has been ado about the addition of Saquon on this offense, about how there's too many weapons to go around. I think they're going to return to their former glory. I think Jalen's going to return to his favorite target. I think AJ Brown's going to have a monster game.
Yeah. I mean, if there's one player in Brazil to go off, probably AJ Brown. The Sellies. The Sellies are going to be nuts.
It feels like it's been too long. It feels like they've been apart for far too long, and we need to just reunite this tandem. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I can see both of those being player of the game. Obviously, since we're not picking Jalen Hurts, since that's such an obvious pick, I'm going to go with Devontae Smith as my player of the game. I really think in this Kellen Moore system, he's going to be used how Keenan Allen was when he was with the Chargers last year. You saw him in the slot. You saw him wheeling out the backfield, getting matchups on line. He's moving all around, confusing this defense. And I think Smitty kind of has that Keenan Allen-ish to his game. Very precise route runner. Great hands, knows how to find the hole in zones, knows how to set up defenders, knows where to be at the right time, dependable. I'm going to go with Devontae Smith in this one.
Like it. Who you got on defense, Coach?
On defense, I'm going to go the man in the middle, Jalen Carter.
Nice.
I really think that Jalen Carter can have his way against either a guard or a center on several times. Interior disruption is production. So regardless of what we think is going to happen on the edge, I really think that Jalen Carter is going to slow down this run game with Josh Jacobs and just get in the face of Jordan Love, make him get that ball out quick. May not lead to a lot of sacks, but as us fans that know the game and watch the game, may not be a stat sheet week, but it'd be like Jalen Carter disrupted so much.
Nice. I'm going MTSU legend Reed Blankenship.
Ooh. Okay.
They're going to be trying to pick on him. They're going to want to avoid CJ. They're going to want to avoid, Slay, Isaiah Rodgers, even Q. And they're going to say, hey, when it's man, we're going to try to go over the top with Christian Watson. We're going to try to pick on the side of the field of Reed Blankenship. I got him having a pick and land just a bone-crushing 15-yard penalty.
Interesting pick. Guys, Coach, I got to go right there with you. I've already mentioned it before. It's going to be a huge prime time game. Everybody's going to be super excited for this game, and I think Jalen Carter, hot off of the heels of what was for the most of last season, he was jockeying for defensive rookie of the year. I think this is where he steps out and starts to put his name in the pot for defensive player of the year in his second season. I think he's going to make that jump, and he's going to do it on a global scale.
Love it.
I love that prediction. I absolutely love it.
Final thought, go Birds.
Go Birds.
Go Birds, baby.
Go Birds.